Hi, and welcome to a More Than Meets the Eye special episode. I'm your host, Blind Prime. This is my co-host, Cream the Cat. He's just sleeping in the corner because it's cold outside, and he does not like the cold. Yeah, here in Florida, if it's anything below 80 degrees, we consider it cold outside. It is something in the high 60s right now, and it's just frigid out there. Gotta wear a jacket and some socks and shoes. Like, oh, good God. Gotta put on socks? Oh, man. Florida problems. Oh, whenever you're a flip flop kind of person most of the time of the year, and then you realize, oh crap, there's a few times where I'll have to actually put on socks. So let's get into today's little episode. Today is about comparing and contrasting combiners. We've got a lot of combiners coming into us this year, and I was hoping to have the other aerial bot, the other deluxe, to talk about with this video, but I wanted to get it out as quickly as possible because many people may be wondering, should I not pull the trigger on some of these new combiners? The prices are a little wonky, and is it, how does it look compared to the other, the Meanasaur or any other transformer? So I brought out Studio Series 86 Bumblebee here, and Studio Series 86 Bumblebee is currently on sale on Amazon for like 15 bucks or something. Look, it's got a wonderful transformation. I didn't necessarily like the vehicle mode that well. Like I could have been nicer on the vehicle mode, but it is what it is. The transformation is superb, and the robot mode is a Bumblebee. So I do suggest, if you want a Bumblebee that's a decent transformation and stuff, and you want a G1 style, that's a great Bumblebee to get, and it's at a decent price. There's a lot of people who've really poo-pooed it, but I think that it does a good job for what it is. So we've got Bumblebee here, and we're going to compare him to Air Raid and Dragstrip and Wild Rider, Elsa, Scrapper, and Bone Crusher. Yeah, just give you an idea. Also, I want to compare Air Raid and Wild Rider to Scrapper to show you the legs, okay? I also brought Dragstrip out here because Dragstrip is an arm and Bone Crusher is an arm, and I wanted to look at that. So first off, let's bring Bumblebee back here and compare him to Air Raid. There we go. Now Bumblebee goes up most of the way up Air Raid's chest. He stops midway through the vents on Air Raid's chest. And to say, I'm trying to remember the size scaling, and I think that's right. Like, I think Bumblebee did have to look up at Air Raid, because Air Raid was slightly bigger than Bumblebee. Now, if Bumblebee's head could only be on a ball joint so he could look up and down, that would be amazing, because he's always having to look up at people. But with this transformation we have here, Bumblebee's kind of got to go like that, like, woo, Matrix style to look. Okay, so that's Air Raid. Side-by-side comparison here. We get that Bumblebee's arm goes up midway up Air Raid. Let's raise your arm up, Air Raid. And Bumblebee, the top of Bumblebee's shoulder goes right to this weird little nubbin that's underneath Air Raid's shoulder. So that's a comparison with Air Raid. So we're going to set Air Raid, lower your arm, sir, thank you. Set Air Raid off over here to the side. And we'll look at Wild Rider, just kind of give you an understanding of where Wild Rider sits in this. Bumblebee comes up to midway up his chest, about the same place as Air Raid. Wild Rider can raise his arm up, and Bumblebee can fit under there. Bumblebee's head, though, for Wild Rider, actually comes, Wild Rider's just a little shorter in the arm department than Air Raid. We'll compare those in a bit. But there you go. There's that little comparison. Bumblebee's head goes just to the underside of the armpit of Wild Rider. Bumblebee, don't fall over. All right. So that is Wild Rider. And then here's Dragstrip to continue so that you can get a basic understanding of sizes. Here is Dragstrip. And Dragstrip is one of my favorites. There we go. Dragstrip and Bumblebee. Bumblebee comes midway up the chest of Dragstrip, about the same place as Wild Rider and Air Raid. Dragstrip, because of the way he works, he can't really raise his arm up that far. But he could try. And Bumblebee goes to the midway up, just under the armpit of Dragstrip. So they're all about equal in size. So we're going to set Drag Strip and Wild Rider to the side. Now let's take a look at Bone Crusher and Bumblebee. Because, here's where some of the sizes change. Okay, Bumblebee comes down to Bumblebee. Baby, don't do this to me. All right, there we go. Bumblebee's head goes there. I'm just going to flip them around. There we are. Much better. Bumblebee's head goes to the peak of the shovel that's folded over Bone Crusher's chest. Now, Bone Crusher can raise his arm up. Bumblebee, how do you fit under Bone Crusher's arm? Bumblebee's head goes to the underside of Bone Crusher's armpit. But Bone Crusher's arm is, of course, a little lower than his shoulder. I didn't mean to do that to you, Bumblebee. Did I mistransform this? I did. This is a mistransformed arm. We shouldn't listen to Blind Prime at that point. Let's try that again, okay? Here you go, Bumblebee. Yeah, there you are. No. Face the camera, silly guy. There we go. That's much better. Mistransformed something there. All right, so we're going to select Bumblebee's head there. Bumblebee's head fits right underneath the armpit of Bone Crusher at about the same place as before with the others. So they're all in roughly the same size. Now here's Scrapper to finish it up and also explain the Scrapper's a deluxe class. There we go. Bumblebee, his head goes to the same spot as Bone Crusher. And then Scrapper facing Bumblebee. There you go, yeah. Bumblebee's head goes to about the same place as it did with Bone Crusher. There's actually a little fold in the plastic there, a little peak in a little molded plastic, and that's about the same spot as the peak on Bone Crusher. Like, that's funny. One of these costs $10 more than the other one, and I couldn't tell you why. All right, so we're going to set Bumblebee off to down here. There you go, Mr. Bumblebee. You rest down there, and please don't get in the way of the rest of the video. Okay, so first off, we're going to set arms and legs off to the side, and we'll compare legs in a minute. But let's compare arms to arms, huh? So there we go. All the leg guys are over there. And I'm assuming Air Raid is a leg guy because most of the arm people have had a very flat back. That's had most. The two that I had. Well, three counting the other one from Meanasaur, but they have a flatter back. They got a big flat back, and so that it can rest on something, I assume. I don't have the we're not there yet for Devastator, but I did notice that's a comparison. So and I also know that Bone Crusher is an arm of Devastator because I got Combiner Wars Devastator, and this guy and Combiner Wars Bone Crusher are very similar to one another, but kind of different at the same time. I do appreciate what they did to change things. So let's look at these two combined. I am not combined together. Let's go ahead and lock Bone Crusher's knees so that he can stand at his full height. And we're going to lower your arms down to the side. We don't want anything getting in the way of this measurement. We want to make sure people understand what's going on here. So we've got Drag Strip. The Drag Strip, one of the best in Legacy Transformers wise. Like just by himself, Drag Strip is a good Transformer. All right, so comparing them, Drag Strip's head is just slightly. Let's make sure your knees are straightened out. Okay. And your arms are flat against your sides. There you are, sir. Okay, once more. Boom. Yeah, Drag Strip is slightly shorter than Bone Crusher. Just ever so much. Drag Strip is also not as wide as Bone Crusher. We can compare that. We can bring up Bone Crusher's little back piece here and flip your hood over your face. There you go. Raise that up. Now we can compare them back to back, and we get that when it comes to the width, Drag Strip is not as wide as Bone Crusher's robot mode. Especially this big flat plastic thing on Bone Crusher's back is a bit wider than the one on Drag Strip's back, telling me that I believe your Devastator will be taller than Drag Strip. Devastator definitely will be taller than this guy, than Meanasaur. And also, weight-wise, that's an important thing to talk about here. So, weight-wise, definitely more going on the Bone Crusher. I feel there's more weight in the Bone Crusher, though the Drag Strip's weight is evenly distributed. because of how the legs work on drag strip. And then you got the legs for Bone Crusher, and legs for Bone Crusher are just the treads for the vehicle, but that's just straight up according to animation and stuff. You can't make those legs thicker or bigger without making the rest of the Transformer thicker or bigger, because they got to be the correct size treads to go on this bulldozer. So that is, still had his welding hood up. That's what I call that. That's his. He needs to weld. He just throws that down. He's got a blasting shield. Anyway, so that is the comparison of the arms. I think that Devastator is just going to be ever so slightly bigger in the arm. Now, let's take a look at the legs, because we've got 3 representations of legs going on here, and we can talk about them all together. Let's go ahead and put Wild Rider in the middle, and we can bring you around over here, Air Raid, and you can sit here. And what fell? Did something fall? Oh, I swear something fell. No, good. No. Here we go, Air Raid. Now, I'm not sure if Air Raid's supposed to have the nose of the aircraft pointed up like that, but I kind of like that idea. And I'm pretty sure I remember that from the cartoon, but I'm not sure. So first off, oh, Wild Rider, why are your arms all over the place? Lower your arms, sir. All right, let's compare them face to face, and get your arms lowered. Get your arms lowered. There we are. There we are. And we've got a match. Both of them are the same height. Like, wow, that's wild to have them being the same height. They're years apart from each other, but they managed it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that. Now, let's compare Wild Rider over here to Scrapper, and we get that Scrapper can look over the top of Wild Rider's head. Scrapper is bigger than Wild Rider. Not by much. Not by much. I'd say 0.1, 0.2. Definitely a bigger gap in Scavenger than in the Bone Crusher, but not by much. Not by much at all. It's fractions. It really is. Now, comparing them side by side, we get that their arms are about the same length. Your arms about the same length. Yeah. Straighten your arm out. That's what the problem is. Yeah, silly Constructicon. Yeah, their arms are about the same length. And definitely feeling the don't really get why this guy was a Voyager class. I really don't. But otherwise speaking, he is slightly larger. He's definitely got the weight. Yeah, no, though there is more weight in Scrapper. Maybe if they were selling it to us by weight, that made him a Voyager class, because he is a heavier guy. These two are kind of light in comparison, but because of, I'm assuming how the conversion works, where we have Wild Rider and Air Raid here will plug into a skeleton that has a foot pad underneath it. We not really sure what the combination stuff will be for, or at least I'm not sure how Scrapper here will do. Like, will he plug into a skeleton that's got its own foot pad, or does he make up the foot pad? I'm not exactly sure. So there's still some more questions with the Devastator. They're going Combiner Wars real heavy, but definitely it's a retooled Combiner Wars that changed some things. And I'm just going to mention this right here. I think the most amazing thing changed is this thing on Bone Crusher's back. Get your blast shield out of the way. This thing on Bone Crusher's back was such a pain in the Combiner Wars because mine was just so loose. It was ridiculous, and this one's tight. Like, this thing is nice. I like it. Let's put your blast shield back. I've done screwed up your entire transformation by playing with that, didn't I? Yeah. Lock it all down. All right. Anyway, so this has just been a small video explaining to you some sizes so that you can get a better understanding of what's going on with these. It seems that Superion will be the exact same size as Meanasaur, judging by the evidence we have in front of us, and Devastator will be slightly bigger than Meanasaur, judging by the evidence we have in front of us. But Devastator's not going to be that much taller than Meanasaur. That's what I've been able to figure out. Now, I can't wait for Leo Kaiser to come out because I would love to compare him with the Devastator. And that I'm getting Devastator partly so that I can compare him to Leo Kaiser when Leo Kaiser comes in the mail next year. I'm so excited about Leo Kaiser. Like, I'm not nearly as excited about Omega Prime coming this year as I am about Leo Kaiser coming next year. That is just, oh, I love me some combiners. And I'm so happy that I'm just in the middle of this combiner era. So we're going to bring you all the combiners because they make me smile. I enjoy them. They're just so much fun. And Cream likes them too, don't you, Cream? Huh? Do you like the combiners? Huh? Is is Bone Crusher your friend? Do you like the Bone Crusher? Yeah. Sniff the Bone Crusher. Sniff him. He likes to be sniffed by cats. Until next Prime, thank you all so much for watching. Bye bye for now.